John in Freehold, what's going on, John? You're on the Fan.
Hey, good morning, Anthony. How
Good
you
morning.
doing, my friend? Anthony, there's a lot of people out there taking crazy pills regarding this Pete Alonso situation.
Right.
I've heard everything from Pete Hoffman saying that they need to offer him a 7-year, $200 million contract,
I love Pete.
make him a Met for life, and he needs to get the all-time Mets home run record, that it's meaningful and valuable. It is not, all right? I got Yankee fans calling in like Ray in Brooklyn saying that Steve and Alex Cohen have promoted this family atmosphere, and there's nothing family about how they're handling Pete Alonso. They're kicking him to the curb. He's a homegrown Met. He deserves better. He's being disrespected. No, he disrespected Alex and Steve Cohen when he put his nose up to a 7-year, $158 million contract.
Preach on it.
And then proceeded to hire Scott Forrest. Now, Eric in Ronkonkoma, great Met fan, great caller.
Great guy.
I love the guy. But, Eric, you got to move off this. He was in a contract year last year. He felt the pressure, and that's the reason why he had a bad year. Eric and everybody else listening, it's not 1 year, folks. It's 2 years. He's been on a 2-year decline now, and he's getting paid to produce.
He is.
He came up small, and he had a bad year in a contract year last year, unlike Aaron Judge. And I've heard people compare Aaron Judge and Pete Alonso. There is no comparison, and I'm a diehard Mets fan. Aaron Judge is going to the Hall of Fame. Pete Alonso's not. Pete Alonso is a lumberjack. Pete Alonso is a lumberjack that has holes in his swing. He can be pitched to. He can be handled. He's on the decline. There are other options out there. David Stearns wants to be smart and selective in building this baseball team. I've heard people say, hey, Soto needs protection. They'll find protection. There's better options out there. Now, you talk about the commitment that people are saying that Steve and Alex Cohen need to make to him as well.
Right. Well, and John, I got to let you go. And a great call. And I agree with basically all of it. They owe him nothing. And I'm sorry, Pete's in this situation because of Pete Alonso. The Mets did not disrespect him. The Mets are not spitting. This is not Tom Seaver getting traded or not protected, whatever it was, in I think he was traded and then he wasn't protected. This isn't Tom Seaver. This isn't not offering Jose Reyes a contract. And I'm sorry, that was more egregious than what the Mets are doing right now to Pete Alonso, Sandy Alderson and the Wilpons. Pete is a great story for Met fans. We haven't experienced much. Like he said, this is not Babe Ruth. He's not Aaron Judge. He's Adam Dunn. And again, he's right in what he's saying. You know, let's just read off some numbers. Late and close. He's hitting 205, 726 OPS. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, 222. 830 OPS. So not terrible OPS, but he's hitting 222. Now go to the margins of greater than 4 runs. So 4 runs or more. His numbers skyrocket. He's a stat patter, and that's fine. His high leverage numbers, not great. So to act like, and again, would it be cool for Pete to get the home run record? Sure. Yes. Would be amazing. It'd be cool to win a World Series. That's really what I care about. And if Pete's here, amazing. It's not going to make it any more special for me. I'm going to bring this back to my favorite football team. You guys know this. I'm a Broncos fan. One of the toughest parts about getting blown out to the Seahawks in Super Bowl 48 was not just the fact that we lost. It was the fact that Champ Bailey was not going to get a chance to win the Super Bowl with this franchise. You know, the greatest cornerback to ever play the game. Argue with your mom. It was the fact that he was not going to get a chance to win a Super Bowl with this team. Did it make Super Bowl 50 any less special for me when the Broncos won with a mercenary quarterback? No, it didn't. It was awesome. I got to be honest. Yes, it sucks seeing videos from Super Bowl 48 where Champ Bailey's the only guy on the sideline saying, we got to keep fighting, but they're down like 25 points. We got to keep fighting. We got to keep fighting. Yeah, it stunk. It did not make winning the Super Bowl any less special for me. So if the Mets lose Pete and they don't get someone to break, Soto and Lindor are going to break all the records anyway. So if it's not Alonso, it'll be somebody else. And yes, what happened last year cannot be erased. Dropping the pop-up, adding to the pressure. Pete's going to go out like this. He's not going to beat the allegations. He's going to go out and not get the job done in the field and then not get the job done at the plate, and then bang, the ball goes out. Oppo Taco. Devin Williams grimacing. And not the good grimace. So, yeah, that was a clutch moment. But teams do not evaluate guys off of one at-bat or 10 at-bats. They operate them off of what they've done and what they think they can do. And again, I do love Pete. I think because I am fair about this situation, I get told by Met fans, and similar people in my situation, we get told by Met fans that we're haters. No. It was similar to when DeGrom left, and all these Met fans lost their mind. We won nothing with him. We could win nothing without him. For all intents and purposes, let's say Jalen Brunson goes through this contract, and I love Jalen Brunson. He might be my favorite athlete in New York, right? He might be my favorite athlete right now, period. Jalen Brunson could not win a title in 4 years. And if the Knicks don't re-sign him, that would suck. But I got to be honest, it's not going to make whenever they get to that point any less special. And I know he's not homegrown, so it's tougher to make the comparison, but it's the NBA, so how many times you actually win with a homegrown player. But that's my point. And again, I want to reiterate this. I want the Mets to take this offer. This 3-year, it seems like it's north of 80 for sure, but we don't know what the exact number is. But 3 years, an annual opt-out every year. That was a little redundant, annual, every year. But I want to take this. But I'm not going to sit here and lose my mind in the same offseason that we got Juan Soto because Pete didn't re-sign. Eric and Ronca, Eric heard the bat signal, and he had to call in to defend his honor. My guy, Eric, what's going on?
Yeah, hey, Gallo. Well, listen, I was going to call a little bit later because I'm in a bad area here, but I might be able to sneak this in. Look, my issue with what John says here is this, okay? Because, everybody talks in absolutes. They they know for sure that something's going to happen, when it hasn't played out yet. I'll tell you one thing here, okay? If they do take Pete back for, let's say 1 year, and who knows where it goes, and he has an excellent year because of who else is in the lineup, I want him first thing as soon as the season ends to call up and say he was wrong. Because if I'm wrong, I will, and you know that.
Yeah.
I've called up and, because I'm wrong all the time. Just ask my wife. She'll tell you. But, I'm sorry. It's not 2 years that he's been in a decline, okay? He had great numbers 2 years ago. He came back 4 days after getting hit in the wrist.
Yeah, but again, a lot of those. But Eric, and we disagree on this. My point is, I don't care that he hit those 40 homers 2 years ago when most of them came when the season was we were out of it.
Yes,
and most of his home runs come when the game is out of hands. He has 100.
Overall was terrible 2 years ago.
Excuse me. But the same team the year prior won 100 games. So we act like, this is my problem with Met fans, we act like Pete's surrounded by nobodies. Why is it that other guys in the lineup, Pete was supposed to be protecting Lindor. No one ever gave Lindor that benefit of the doubt when he struggled. Oh, he's got no one protecting him. That's my point.
Okay, but where is he batting in the lineup now?
Yeah, but and it benefited Lindor to get farther away from Alonso.
Okay.
So he got more protection from Vientos than he has from Alonso in his time period here. That's my point. Is he has guys. But
Vientos was too much of an unknown last year to know how to pitch around him. Look, like I said, if it turns out that he does come back this year and he has another bad year, very similar or worse than last year. I'll be the first one to call up and say.
Well, it's not about being right or wrong.
But,
it's about getting this right on the field. And thank you for the call, Eric. I understand. We are one big family here at WFAN. So I respect Eric defending his honor. I knew he was going to call in. Eric's my guy. He will text me, I'm sure, in a little bit, and it'll start with Mets, and then we will start talking about movies. But and listen, what he's said, Eric, even if I disagree with it, he's not out. It's not outlandish to think the way he's thinking. I just don't think it's fair that we will give Pete these excuses. We don't give other guys these excuses. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of guys who battle. I can't just give a guy all this money because he battled through injury or he plays every day. Yeah, that's great. That is great, but get the job done every day. And I'm not trying to poo-poo this guy. I'm really not. But his numbers don't lie. Even in his best seasons, it wasn't like he was going out there and he wasn't Derek Jeter in the clutch. For as overrated at times, Jeter's all-time great, so don't misconstrue what I'm saying. For as overrated at times, we've overrated Jeter, where Yankee fans wouldn't admit that A-Rod was a better player. Take away the steroids, obviously, who cares? But Yankee fans wouldn't admit that he was a better player. It's similar here. You have to realize, 2022, Pete's probably one of his best seasons. His numbers are the same. Late and close, he had under 200. His high leverage numbers were not great. So, even in his great years, it's not like he's this gimme when it comes to a clutch situation. There's a reason why so many of us Mets fans who love Pete still get concerned when he comes up and runs in scoring position. I can tell you this much, when Lindor gets up there, and I've been a big Lindor guy since he was in Cleveland. He's been one of my favorite players since he's really broken onto the scene. That's a guy who's clutch. His entire career, he's done it. Even in 2021, when he stunk, he was still getting clutch hits. That's the mark of a guy who steps up when it matters. And this is not the whole point. Pete does not have to be the clutch guy if he comes back this year. That's part of my reasoning. And I want to reiterate this. They should take the offer. If it's 3 years, annual opt-outs, they need to take the offer right now. Short of it being 130 over 3 years, if it's 110, like I said, my sweet spot, 90 to 110. Over 3 years, annual opt-outs, throw in some incentives. But that's where I sit with Pete Alonso. 888-808-1019. We'll get to all your stuff. We're talking Mets. I do want to pivot to, the NFL, Jets, Giants, and the playoffs. All that on the Fan. Anthony Gallo till 7 a.m.